Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Creator Spotlight. And joining me today is the highly requested and salty Earth man himself, Mr. Shagsworth. How are you doing, buddy?
Hey man, how's it going? Feels good to be here. Thanks for reaching out, and thank you for whoever suggested that I be here. It's truly humbling.
Well, I'm going to say it was more than one person. I just don't want to tell you who so they can get their egos fluffed. They don't deserve that, but they do deserve some thanks for bringing you on, though. For me to have or reach out to you to bring you on. Uh, just want to say thank you again for taking time out of your day to do so. Um,
Mhm.
and I just wanted to say, who are you and what is it that you do for YouTubing?
um, well, my name is the Shagsworth. A lot of people now just call me Tom. I've been pretty open about my real name, but for a long time, and not so much recently, but for a long time, I talked about things in pop culture, politics, Hollywood, and things that I thought were distressing. And over the last probably year, maybe less, I've sort of left the scene in ways that I've left sort of like what I used to do, and kind of pushed back on both sides because I think originally I swung pretty hard against the machine, if you will, and then the anti-machine started uh, making me just as angry at times, and or like not even angry, but just disappointed. So my content kind of shifted back that ways a little bit of just sort of bringing relevance to a lot of things and not trying to take hard line stances on it. And it didn't make some people happy at all, and then others were happy with it. They were like, "Wow, thank you for keeping an open mind. Like, this is really cool to see someone, do something a little different and not just agree with everyone." So that's really what like my content is focused largely on, like pop culture, Hollywood movies, but trying to give a perspective that wasn't so uh, hardlined. I guess for the best is the best way to say.
Yeah, and you're not necessarily like in the wrong or doing something like I would say bad. I feel like I think you would agree with me. There was this like weird period from like say 2013 to I would even say up until like last year where things in like pop culture and well, let's just be honest here, American culture has kind of been like all over
Mhm.
the road. And I'm necessarily not
Yeah.
like saying I'm like I wasn't there with you with a lot of that stuff too. um I kind of bought into a lot of the whole hardline stance on this stuff, caring about like, how could you say this? It's not caring about like the product. I was caring about the narrative. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I feel like that's just kind of like a natural thing that a lot of people who were like very invested into like, I'm saying like too much, but who were very invested into movies, video games, TV shows, like there was a whole bunch of stuff that was coming out that was just subpar. That's the best way to put it. It wasn't necessarily all bad and terrible. It was just so subpar. It was such drastic changes, and we're talking about IPs that are historic for a lot of these people. Some are like over 100 years old, some of them are approaching 100 years old, and even for that matter,
Mhm.
some of them have been very involved in our short lives. I'm 34 years old, so a lot of these things were well established or really good during my lifetime.
Yeah, like it's yeah, it just kind of started with like watching. I felt alone in a lot of ways back in probably 2018, 2019, because I was just then starting to like see like the shifts in culture, and not necessarily in Hollywood so much, but like just like how radical some of my friends were being about certain things, and
Mm-hmm.
like mainly around politics. And because that was like Trump had gone through his like was like finishing up his first term and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, how do I was like, I don't want to sound like all of my friends, and like, but at the same time, I don't want to lose my friends. And then as I sort of weaseled my way into like a political awakening, I was also seeing the Hollywood changes, or like those were becoming way more apparent to
Right.
me. And then I was just like, wow, like, and but it's weird. Like I look back on so many things. I'm rewatching a lot of old shows, and I'm like, man, the stuff that people complain about like no diversity and things. It's like it was just so present. Like even back in like 2007 or
Yeah.
2006, like I've been watching 24 all over again, and the amount of like powerful women in that show, and like powerful like people of color, if we have to use that term, like they're everywhere. Like they hold positions of power.
Right.
They are strong willed. But like somewhere along the way, we like now we have to do more. And it's like, well, they were there, or we were already making progress towards something.
Yeah.
And now, but yeah, it just seemed like then these IPs that have been around for so long were then catching that bug of like, well, we have to do this. I was like, what? No, we don't. No, we don't. We don't have to do that. Like, I don't know. It was diluting something that was already like, there's no need to. Like, you come up with something new that has those demographics, but like, there's no need to take something that worked and unravel it into something that is, that now has lost meaning.
Right. Now, before you came on stream to me, you said between 2011 and 2020, you were also living in Hawaii. Was that correct?
Yeah. Yep.
So, I feel like another thing too is like, maybe you can relate to this as well. I'm from Illinois, the Chicagoland area, and when you're talking about like, well, I didn't want to become like my friends and everything too. Did you grow up in? Were you living at the time in a very blue state that Hawaii is? Were you around just a lot of people that were just all very liberal and very like, oh, Trump is
Mhm.
bad and Obama and everything too, like that?
Oh yeah. I mean, like that's just, yeah, I mean, everyone here is like very, very liberal, and I was like, and I still consider myself very liberal. Like some people might not say like, oh, well, you actually are very conservative on this and blah blah blah, and or you're conservative because you talk to so and so. But like, I am truly like pretty liberal in a lot of my stances.
Mm-hmm.
But like a sort of classic '90s like Clinton liberal,
Right.
and but yeah, what I was seeing here was a lot of people taking that like extreme, like they were pushing themselves to the extreme because Trump was just such a, or is such a, he's just not a spoken person, like he's brash, he's a New York businessman
Yeah.
that like upended the political scene as we knew it, and made Hillary look like a fool. So
Right.
nobody wanted that. They wanted, every woman I worked with was like, yeah, girl boss in it, Hillary, like she's gonna do it. And like but I had always walked this line of like, I don't really trust the Clintons. Like there was always dirt on her hands. It was always like some sort of like, there's always something slimy about her, even before like she was running for president. So
Right.
I never trusted her. But I would try and push back on my liberal friends, just playing devil's advocate, and I think that's sort of what got the ball rolling with me, really sort of making another leap towards like the conservative side.
Right. And, and that's like kind of like what you're talking about with this whole weird social pressure where it's like you're still kind of like afraid to speak your mind, and that's why you have to call it like a devil's advocate, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I can understand that very well too. Like I said, I'm from the Chicagoland area. It's vote blue no matter who for a lot of my family members. I've actually had family members go like, "We're from Chicago, we vote Democrat." You know what I mean? So
Right.
so like
Yeah.
I had a lot of that stuff too. I want to say around like 2013. I was a big Obama guy. you know, teenager from Chicagoland area, first black president. Come on, it was like a thing for everyone to just be on board with that. But it's kind of like what you said. It's like you see, um, when you have access to the internet and you see, like news stories, and you're finding out how much money like we wasted in the Middle East, and you go like, well, wait a minute here, like I don't consider myself a liberal or a conservative anymore because I just don't find those terms to
Yeah.
fit my worldviews. Um,
Mm.
but I just kind of sit here, and you're thinking that the world is like black and white, and then you start to realize, well, it's not black and white anymore once you start like
Yeah.
reading and learning, and then you just like start talking to people, and you get that like this weird sense of feeling around some people where it's just I'm nervous to talk to you about how I really feel because you know that person might turn around and now like ostracize you. And with the first Trump run, when I saw a bunch of my friends and family members on Facebook just like tear each other apart and say like some of the most vile, hateful things, and I just started to like really not like humanity for a long time because I just saw friends and family become animals, and it was just so weird.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of. Dev just said here I went woke. Um, yes, Dev, I did. Sorry, I was reading chat. Yeah, I mean, I definitely I feel you like that, and one of the things that I've learned just like over the years is like you really can't. The only thing you can control is like yourself, and like there's so many people like I'll get into like discussions with, and or they're like, how could you talk to that person? Like, how could like I was like, I'm just sitting here saying my piece. If I want to let this person disturb that piece and like go off the rails, well, that's
Yeah.
on me. Like a lot of these people are true blue believers that like the Sydney Sweeney ad was a dog whistle for white supremacy. Like they believe that, and it's not really up to me to to convince them one way or the other.
Right.
All I can say is, like, I think you're wrong. I think, and I've said through all of my discussions on TikTok that I do, like, I'm not here or I'm never there to convince the person who's hosting that talk or debate. I'm not going to convince them of anything.
Right.
But there's always someone in the audience that might hear something that I said that might ring true to them. Oh, that's an interesting perspective on that. Because like ultimately that's the goal. You need to be the example for the other people out there. You need to be able to take in a bunch of different messages. You need to take in messages you absolutely hate, but find a way to understand like, well, that they're a person. They're just, they're getting through life just the way I am. Like, what am I going to do? I need to understand that position of things, and then find a way to either engage back, disengage, or whatever it might be. I don't know, man. It's a weird time that we've lived in over the past, God, 10, 12 years now.
Yeah.
That I've tried to like talk to people about these subjects. I just try and be someone who is a bit more open-minded on things, and I'm not. I fail a lot of times, and like sometimes I lose my cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes I say shit that I shouldn't. I've ruined not. I mean, I've ruined friendships from the perspective of I guess the other person, right? Like as far as I'm concerned, like I'm still I could be friends with people. I don't need to have the same ideological structure of anyone,
Right.
but there's plenty of people who I've called out like over the last year who don't care to have me in their circles anymore because I'm honest about like how I feel, and that's fine. But like I said, it's I don't think any poorly of them. That's there. They want to think about it. Cool.
As my grandma used to say, good riddance to bad rubbish. That's what I say.
Yeah, I mean, and it's too bad. Like, and I'm a pretty forgiving person. Like, too. Like, if like I don't really hold any ill will. It takes a lot for someone to like really be like excommunicated by me. It's just
Mm,
like when I finally do reach that point, it's like literally like I just usually walk away,
yeah.
and won't talk. But like I said, this online community that I've built and the connections I've made, like I'm open to people. Like people want to have me on if they want to talk, or like I said, I know who doesn't really care for my opinions anymore. That's fine. It's just because it's because I won't toe the line. It's because I want to think outside of the ideological box.
Well,
Um,
to kind
I-
of like add more to this point, it's something I've noticed a lot more since we talk about like pop culture and everything else like that. I've kind of am with you on a lot of stuff of just speaking your mind. I've told people many times my mentality is if some other retard is going to speak, then I will speak for myself and sound retarded. Because at least it's coming from me.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but it seems like this. It's not even like rage culture anymore. A lot of people go like, "Oh, it's just outrage merchants and everything." It just feels like we have now plateaued out of the outrage culture, and we are just now into the constantly stunted sorrow culture. And I don't know what it is. I mostly focus on video game and video game content, and I've also been kind of
mhm,
changing up my content to be more like explaining to people. Like when you brought up when you said like to 24, you're watching stuff about 24 and going like, well, we had a lot of this stuff here too. I've been watching old video game documentaries on my channel, and they
nice.
talk about like the same things that they talk about today. How do we get more women into gaming? Like look at all the female devs that we have working for us and that. And this was Onimusha, a documentary, by the way, that a lot of these were
Oh,
talking
really?
about. Yeah. So like they were actually trying to like get Hollywood actors to play, well, not Hollywood, like famous Japanese actors to be the face of the lead of Samanosuke and them, so they could get a more woman audience in there because he's a cute guy. We'll get the women to come in and play the video games, right?
Right. Great
Eh,
series of games, by the way.
yes, I just finished 1, 2, and 3 this year. I'm on to Dawn of Sorrows. I'm got to get ready for that, but
Nice.
I digress. But it's we kind of are running into people that are emotionally stunted, in my opinion, where they keep talking about like everything was better back in the day. Everything is great and wonderful. Nothing's progressed since 2007, and everything that they comment on is just kind of like teenagers just constantly woes me. I'm sad. The girl didn't go to prom with me. I got rejected by my first love. And that's just how I feel when I read some of these people's tweets, when I listen to them talk on their streams. I'm just like, fellas, I'm surprised that some of you don't fucking drown in the fucking shower because it's like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? You're just very sad, and I just feel like it's okay. Tomorrow's gonna be okay, and
Right.
I feel like the left kind of is slowly starting to get out of that because I've actually had people in my life that stopped talking to me because of politics recently come back and like message me and talk to me on the phone for a few hours and said, "Yeah, man, it was a weird time." Like they still have their hardcore leftist beliefs, but
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are starting to like come back around and re-engage into the conversation, and I feel like a lot of the people that like are constantly saying everything's woke, everything sucks, everything is not good, are starting to they're starting to like be arrested development right now, and then hopefully at the end of Trump's presidency, we'll start to see a lot of that content like just disappear because I think a lot of people are just very burnt down and fatigued about it, especially with things like the new Superman and Fantastic Four movie, that have come out. I've not heard really anyone, say anything bad about those movies outside of like the usual cast of characters.
Oh, I'm happy to say something bad about Fantastic Four, but for legitimate reasons, not because it's like woke or anything. There were so many people glazing that movie, and I just thought, oh, like what movie did you watch? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I saw
And
your
again, like
comment. I saw your comment. By all means, let me
yeah,
know. I'm curious.
I'm just so far removed from like I like talking about movies and I like talking about TV, but I don't like talking about it from like the women point of view or the the MCU point of view anymore. It's like I get it, it's a thing, and like, and those who make those videos are like more power to them, and they do a great job. But I can't, like, it doesn't serve me as like someone who enjoys cinema and who enjoys like the art form.
Mm-hmm.
And like when I sat down and watched the Fantastic Four, I just thought like even like the Critical Drinker was like, oh, this wasn't that bad. I'm like, dude, what? Like, I know you want to like this, or like I just don't know what people were watching, because there were so many disconnected moments in that movie. I thought like, I don't know, I don't want to like get into a whole thing about Fantastic Four, but like it just, I could not believe that people like in, we'll just say, the fellowship sphere were saying that it was actually kind of good. And I said, well, I guess if your idea of good now is just like I didn't leave the theater, then yes, it was good.
Mm.
But like truly, I couldn't figure out why I didn't leave the theater. I just was like, I guess I was waiting for something good to happen. But you know, but that's anyway. Sorry, I digress from that.
No, you're
Like
fine.
it's. I actually forgot. If you had asked me a question, I forgot what it was. I apologize.
No, it's nothing wrong with that. Since you said you like to talk about movies and TV shows, what are your like favorite movies and TV shows then? Like all timers you rewatch constantly.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm rewatching 24 right now, and Lost, sort of like parallel to each other. And like those are like two of my like all time favorites. Was a huge fan of X Files back in the day.
Mm.
And then there was a show called Millennium that was like sort of, it was like, I don't know if it was technically, I think it was technically in the same universe as like the X Files, because I believe Frank Black, who is the like character played by Lance Henriksen,
Mm.
appears in X Files a couple times as Frank Black. So I do think it runs sort of like parallel to it, but like those are like 3, 4 of my like very favorite TV shows. Oh, and I can't forget 6 Feet Under is another one that was on HBO.
Good HBO show.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's weird because like I like a lot of things for different reasons, and the like there's a what was the show recently that I was watching that got canceled? Outer Range
Mm.
On Amazon Prime. It was like with Josh Brolin and what was his name? It was Bill Pullman's son. I can never remember his first name. But he was in it. It was a really cool show. It takes place like out in Montana. Like it's a sci-fi show that explores the idea of like time travel in a very, very strange way. And I think one of the problems with it is that it got too crazy too quick. Like they let you know what was happening like too soon, so it kind of confused you and didn't have enough time to like lead you into it.
Right.
But yeah, I really wish it got canceled after the second season. It's unfortunate, but yeah.
I,
But those are like what I watch.
I know how you feel with like those shows that like they have a good premise but they just can't keep going. One of the shows I used to watch when I had Netflix was called Marco Polo. Did you ever watch that?
I didn't. I've heard that it's really good, but I never watched it.
It's really good until a certain point in time. I'm a history major, so a lot of like
Okay.
the TV shows I really like to watch and I really like to enjoy are shows that are kind of set in like a historical time frame. Speaking of HBO, like my two favorite HBO shows are Rome and Band of Brothers. With Band of Brothers is my favorite TV show of all time. I just
Yeah.
I just think that is like the perfect example of like how to have like a mini series. And I read the book. The book is it's pretty like accurate to the book. Like it's almost a one for one
Mm.
recreation of the book by Stephen
Okay.
Ambrose. And on top of that too, like they brought in the actual people that they like interview at the beginning of the episodes when it's their old World War II vets, they brought them in to kind of like
Yeah.
give advice and everything. And they were so historically accurate that it gave a couple of the veterans kind of a little bit of PTSD because they would go and they would check like walk around on a set and they're in the half tons and they're like cooking the meals and stuff like that all in their air jump regalia, getting to go, and they would bring some of
Yeah.
these vets around and they would go pale white and they're like, I just saw ghosts, like people I haven't seen for like 40, 50 years.
Yeah, the Band of Brothers. I don't think I remember watching it like when it had first come out, or in my roommate had bought it I bought the DVD set and we
Yeah.
watched it, but that was like at this point 20 years ago. I really should rewatch it, but I remember loving it because I was big into because there's a lot of World War II stuff coming out around that time, and I was always into it. And but yeah, that's another one I need to rewatch. Uh, and those were the times too that HBO, like every show they were putting out was like
A hit.
it was either a mini series or just an all out banger.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't. And I spoke to someone recently that like we need to get back to mini series. Like why aren't we doing, or why aren't these companies leaning into original content miniseries?
Right.
Like it doesn't make sense. And I feel like the superhero like craze is partially to blame for a lot of this because it's the studios are like, oh, just no, let's do existing IPs only. Like let's just grab something that people like and make it into a show. It's like, well, no, like tell me a good story, but it doesn't have to be 4 seasons long, or it doesn't have to be 10 seasons long, and how many episodes. Just give me 10 episodes, one season. That's all you
Yeah.
need. And, like even the format of like True Detective is the closest that it's come.
I the first season of True Detective is by far probably one of the best examples of a more modern TV show that just start to finish every episode is perfect.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
I
I
absolutely love
agree.
it. They got a good cast of characters, a great storyline, very awesome setting too. By the way, deep South, kind of like that Bible Belt kind of feel to it as well, with like that weird
Yep.
cult feel. I don't know about you particularly, but for me, I like the whole paranormal, spooky kind of vibe and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
a lot of that stuff for me is just it's like my jam, especially
Hmm.
with like the whole realness. It just feels like a real world. Like some of these TV shows, like you just don't feel like it's a real world. It's a little bit too not believable, not believable. Like what is it? Not not White Collar. It was a USA TV show. Uh, he was a doctor that got fired, and then he was like couch surfing around the Hamptons, and then a billionaire hires him to be his private doctor.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, I'm trying to remember. I think
I
it's
didn't watch a whole lot of network TV. Like the only network stuff I watched was like 24 and Lost. Like those are really the only. Even Supernatural, which I know is super good, I never got into.
no, you never
So
you never seen Burn Notice then.
I did, but that's one of those shows that like I felt went on for so long. But what was cool about it is I never felt like I needed to like continually watch it. Like if I just stumbled on it, it was
Yeah.
totally fine. Like I would always catch random episodes and I thought, oh, this was cool. And I like Bruce Campbell because Bruce Campbell was in that show,
Oh yeah,
right?
that's why I watched it. It was because Bruce Campbell was in it.
Yeah. And so I would catch it occasionally, and I'd be like, "Oh, this is a cool little like spy thriller kind of thing." Like it's and funny, like there's like some levity to it. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's, but I never felt like, "Oh, I need to. Oh, I can't wait for next week." It was never that kind of show for me.
I can understand that. I think the best part about that show was the woman who played the Irish woman could not have an Irish accent to save her life, so they dropped it
Oh,
immediately.
yeah,
So that was the
that's
best
funny.
thing ever. They're like, "Fuck, she can't do an Irish accent. Just half-ass it, and then quickly turn over and forget that she has it. It's just they only brought it back, I think, one time, and then after that, it was just like, nope. Just talk like you normally do, babe. You're fine.
That's funny.
But how about movies?
Movies, like, I don't know. I like, you're asking, like, what are my favorites?
Mm-hmm.
Man, it just, honestly, it depends on the day. Like, it's really hard for me to pick some of my best because, I mean, there's always, like, the Shawshank Redemption, which I can, like, I know it's cliche, but, like, I just think there's your perfect movie. Um, Almost anything uh, pre anything like pre Django,
Mm.
Tarantino wise, is like I consider like some of the best pieces of cinema out there. I just think he is a master at dialogue,
Mm.
uh, and I'm trying to think what else. Like there's just so, I don't know. It's hard for me to put a finger on. I'll be honest, like, because I like so many different kinds of movies, but I generally gravitate towards like psychological thrillers,
Mm.
anything Tarantino. Like I really like A Beautiful Mind. Uh, a lot of Nolan stuff I like. Like I don't consider him like amazing at what he does. He's really good. I think he leans heavily on like Hans Zimmer and his in his themes a lot of times.
Yeah.
His music rather. But, like Interstellar is one of like a more beautiful movie that I really really appreciate, especially now that I'm a parent.
Mm.
The idea of like love transcending like you know all dimensions is really a cool theme. Uh, yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, it's hard for me to pin down like any one or a few because I like a lot.
Right. And like I said, I usually like horror movies, but I'm kind of with you with just like a good movie can make you feel and think and just it just sticks with you. Obviously, my favorite movies of all time usually are the Evil Dead series. I love them so
Yep.
much. The camera work of Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell it just makes you feel something just like a little different. Like everything in those movies is like funny and also incredibly terrifying at the same time. And I think the reason why I like that so much is because of that combination where it doesn't give you like that normal horror feel like, oh, like when you watch Aliens or something, it's like where is this
Yeah.
creature coming from? But it's more so like it kind of feels like Stephen King's It turned up to like 10. It's like it's not trying to kill you
Right.
right away. It wants to fuck with you first.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really it. Like movies for me are like I will gravitate towards something depending on like even how I'm feeling that day.
Right.
Like Aliens might feel like the very best movie like one day, and then the next day I'm like, oh shit, like Last Action Hero is like the funniest movie I've ever watched.
Right.
Or it's the perfect Arnold movie. But it just I can always really find something that I think is genuinely great about a lot of different movies. And a lot of times people disagree. They're like, "Oh no, that's objectively that's really bad." And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess so." Like part of it is like you're just taking the fun out of watching movies.
Right.
Which I say I understand the irony in what I'm saying, considering I truly disliked Fantastic Four and don't understand why people like it. But
Well, here's the thing. It's not so much that, like you said, you have to like conform to opinion. I have that way, like I said before, with like Death Stranding. When people tell me like Death Stranding is a
yeah,
good game, and I'm like, where is this good game that you're talking about? And I think I made a
right.
joke online, and you took a little offense to it. It was like, after people who like Death Stranding, I now understand how Hitler got to power. You're like, hey man.
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, and that game is very interesting in like I think it's just Kojima at his like in his purest form. And I would say now Death Stranding 2 is more like him in his purest form because like that game is Hideo Kojima without any sort of restraints.
Right.
He said, "I want to make a video game," and he did it. He made a video game, but he also made a like cinematic like masterpiece at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think that's what was kind of about playing the first one was like, yeah, it took a while to really get into, but once it kicked in and you understood like what was going on or what was trying to be told, like I was like, okay, I need to know the next thing. I need the next breadcrumb. Oh, I need to go here. Cool. And the systems, the game systems for me were enough to keep me involved where I'm like, okay, I'll go deliver more packages. Oh, let me see how many more I can put on my back. Oh, now I have a cart to like tow behind me. Great. Oh, now I have this automated thing I could do. Oh, awesome. Like it was the perfect little building block. And then the second one just makes those systems better. And it was, okay, this is a guy who listens to his audience. He listens to what people say like about previous installments and makes the right changes. Like he doesn't just he does whatever he wants, but like he understands like the importance of listening to like to the audience and what they're looking for. So, but yeah, if that makes me if lugging Death Stranding makes me a Nazi, I'm happy to embrace that title.
I would never consider that you would be a Aryan Master Racer. Actually, it was more like obviously a facetious thing, just like, hey, now I'm just being bombastic. I've been trying more, because of all like the people in the gaming sphere that I would run adjacent to. I've been trying more and more not to really try to shit on people for liking games like in a serious matter. Because at the end of the day, it's with so much like negativity and ill will that you see from people, just like actively rooting for things to fail, actively rooting to see people, lose their jobs and go under, and just trying to ruin people's fun. I want to be like, I want to be critical and I want to be honest about my opinions on it. But at the same time, it's like when Death Stranding 2 came out, it's like I'm happy for everyone that liked the first game that you're getting a sequel, because I went through so many years, like decade, like decade plus, almost 2 decades, waiting for games like Psychonauts 2, waiting for games like Alan Wake 2, to finally get a sequel. Even Space Marine getting a sequel as later as it did. It's a hard thing to play games, from your childhood or even from your teenage years that were really good, really well praised, well received, that still hold up, that like they still have an audience and everyone talks about them to this day. But for like licensing reasons, dev money issues, and everything else like that, just like you never got to see, a sequel to them. So even though I really, really dislike Death Stranding, which I will be trying to replay it again eventually. I just gotta kind of remove that mind blocker of like Kojima fucked me and he owes me money. You know what I mean? Like, gotta clear.
Yeah, no, I got you.
Got to clear that hurdle. But like, I want people to like get what they want, and I hope that like everyone that I know has been talking that played Death Stranding said like, yeah, it's better than the first, and they like it, and they've been impressed with it, and I'm happy for them. I really am. And
right,
like I said, I do think Kojima is a little bit overrated sometimes. I think he made 3 amazing games with the Metal Gear Solid trilogy. I was not a big fan of Metal Gear Solid 4. I kind of was like, this is too long of cutscenes and not like really catching me. And I never even played 5. But obviously that was when Kojima and Konami were kind of going through it. So I've heard mixed things about 5.
I liked 4 a lot, honestly. It was different, but I really, really liked it. 5, I have not been able to finish. And I think I actually started playing it on stream after I finished Death Stranding, but it was too much Kojima. Like I was like, I need to take a break and play some other things first, then I'll come back to it and I'll play it again. Because I do I do like the open world, like how he does open world and how they manage to fit that into Metal Gear.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, I like going for those like objectives and clearing out things and looking for intel. Like it is a good game for me. On top of it being that like just sort of out there, outlandish mix of like sci-fi, like fantasy, military. Like it's everything that I really like
Yeah.
uh, in a game. But it's like it's restrained. It's not as out there as Death Stranding is. Like they had to like reel it in a bit with 5. But anyways, like it's just I will get back to that one. I just didn't. It was too much at once. Like I was like, I need to take a break, otherwise my head's gonna explode. Of like, you know.
Well,
But
see, like you bring up a good point there for me. I think the problem I had with Death Stranding was that it still felt like he was trying to keep those like weird, wacky, like secret agent kind of feel and vibes to it, which I think was like
mm,
a major turnoff. So like when you got people like Revolver Ocelot and Liquid Snake, Metal Snake, Solid Snake, like all these people, like they fit in that world that you're like living in, you know? It has that very
yeah,
hardcore like Japanese feel to it, but it also feels like it just works because it's like, well, if you grew up watching like secret agent shows and stuff like that, it's like, yeah, they give them like weird code names and stuff. And it kind of fits that
yeah.
vibe. And then we go over to Death Stranding. He still kind of kept that like comment side of like these. They got like weird names like Die Hard Man and Dead Man, and I'm just like, it takes me out of it just a little bit. It's just like,
Well, that's him. Yeah,
yeah,
it's so on the nose, and I said it a lot during my streams. Is like like even in the second one, like there's a guy called Dahlman. Like can you guess what he looks like? Like a guy called Dahlman. He's a doll. Like
right,
it's everything is on the nose. It's not like, but in some ways it's endearing. Like that's what you're getting from him. Like, oh, there's
right.
a character that's literally a marionette. Oh, Dahlman. That makes sense. So like I find it endearing. I think it's kind of cool, but I totally understand why people would look at that and roll their eyes and be like, "Fuck this guy! Like you
Right.
pretentious dickhead!"
Yeah, yeah, but
Like, I
like I
get it.
said, it just feels like you could have just done a little bit better on this part. Like I said, it
Yeah,
really felt at home at Metal Gear. That's why I'm like, I'd have no problem with this in Metal Gear. It fits the theme. But like I'm like I
yeah.
can't really take this seriously from a basically a glorified FedEx delivery man, trying and like take your message behind it like in a sense of a different way. That's why it felt weird to me. See, I'm more of like
Yeah,
for me, my Kojima, like if I'm talking about like a Japanese guy, is like Suda 51. That's like the kind of like the grindhouse kind of like over the top bombastic guy. He is
yeah,
made Killer 7, Killer's Dead, like Pop Chainsaw, No More Heroes. Like I like because those games capture like the you know Japanese culture kind of dev like Kojima does. Like Kojima and Suda both kind of fit that vibe of like you're getting into a game made from an actual Japanese perspective. Like it is like Japanese theater, it's Japanese culture.
hmm,
It's like these mannerisms make sense if you understand the Japanese culture a lot, you know? And
yeah.
and
Right.
I feel like, Suda, like you kind of understand like what you're getting in with his games.
Yeah,
Like every game like kind of feels like kind of like how Kojima has like a thing. Like when I play a Suda game, I'm like I know it's a Suda game. Like Romeo must not Romeo must die. Romeo is dead or Dead Man Rome. I forget the new game that he's got coming out. It was just announced. Like that game looks awesome. It's like I know what I'm
yeah,
getting in for. And whereas like Death Stranding, it's like there was like there's this whole like air of like pretentiousness that was around it. There was obviously a lot of people that did not like it when it came out. There was and I don't know how much of it, like looking back on it, was kind of manufactured just for like trying to get clicks to just like, oh, look at Kojima, he hates Americans and stuff like that. Versus, looking
right.
back on it now, like at the time, it was kind of like angry Linkin Park crawling is playing as I send you this tweet calling you a slur, versus now it's like, well, maybe I was a little bit out of it. You know what I mean? Maybe I was just a little too caught up in the
Right.
moment.
Yeah, and I could see that. Like it's, I just think like Death Stranding was an interesting, like even partially an interesting commentary, like on America, but from like the Japanese perspective, from like even his perspective.
Right.
Um, but ultimately, the story of one man, sort of estranged from his family, family even being a company, like is now shouldering the responsibility of pulling everyone together. That so the message of like one man can truly make a difference on pulling us together, like just for the ultimate sacrifice.
Right.
Like he's blessed or cursed depending on your perspective, and he is able to do this, and it's extremely painful, and it's but like he did it, and even like he doesn't like he doesn't like to be touched. Like he has that like phobia of like not wanting to be touched or hugged or anything, which is it's like one of those like weird additions to the whole thing. But
Yeah.
I thought it was by the and this is like again like this is not something you're going to see or like know because it's not even explicitly told to you. Like as someone who enjoys storytelling, like and even I don't like to be told what's going on. I like playing a game and like with Death Stranding, you're playing half of it and you're watching half of it. Like don't mistake me at all. Like it's a movie. Like it's a lot of it's a movie and a lot of it is you playing. But the game, like, while there's a lot of exposition uh, in those cutscenes, it's not telling you like everything and like what to think about it. Like you're sort of drawing the conclusions as it goes along, and and it doesn't even like reveal that like in trailers. It's just like you wouldn't really know what this game was getting at unless you played it all the way through. You know what
Right.
I mean? So that to me is like masterful because these days, whether it's TV, movies, and games to some extent, you know exactly what you're getting into. You know what it's all about even before you put your butt in that seat. And that to me is just like, bummer, dude. Like, okay, so this is the loop. Okay, let me go online, figure out the meta build, or it's unfun. There's a lot of unfun about games and movies and stuff right now that like and that's why I think I enjoyed his stuff was that there was depth to it. As silly as it was at times, like there was an interesting depth that I was able to pull out of it, and just beautiful like set pieces, like to boot. Like
Mm.
there's so many like awesome things about that angle. So, but it's hard to But I've who is it? I remember it came up with like Adam Krigler. Like he asked me like, or he put out a tweet like, "Oh, what? Like it takes this many hours to get into the game." I was like, "Yeah, I mean, it's something that's hard to explain to someone that if you really give this a chance, you'll probably see the value in it." But
Yeah.
I also understand why that's too long for people. Like I like it shouldn't take that long to get into a game. Like I
Yeah.
agree. But, yeah.
You're correct about that too. I had that same feeling with Starfield as well, where it's like
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
understand, like I really did enjoy the concept of the story and how like it's a giant loop and everything else like that. Like there's a lot of fun stuff and creative ideas there. Like I tell people all the time, I'm like I think it's some of the best Bethesda writing I've seen in years. But I totally understand that there's a lot of issues with this game that turn people off. Like it does take a way too long of a time to get going with everything. It's not exactly very intuitive and user friendly, and I like the idea behind this IP, and I do think that that game was vastly overhated and I put it bluntly, straight up framed and lied about for reasons that I don't agree with after playing the game. But at the same time, I'm not saying anyone is wrong for not liking it or having issues with it because, like you said,
Right.
it's kind of like with Death Stranding, which is like it takes this long before the game gets good is not exactly a good answer to tell people. And you've seen that with TV shows and movies. It's like, no, you just gotta stick around to episode 7, and then after 7 blows your mind. And it's just like, well,
Right.
listen, Habibi, some of these TV shows are like like an hour long. You're telling me I have to waste 7 hours of my life? That's almost a whole
Right.
workday. I could have done something important.
Yeah. And to go back to like something like 24, like our minds now are so our minds have just become mush when it comes to like our attention spans. Because like I put out a TikTok that I've been putting out more TikToks than I have like YouTube stuff, and I really should port those over to YouTube as the shorts.
Yeah.
But yeah, but like because the fact is we don't have good writing. Like there's good shows that have come out. Don't get I think we're still in a good spot in Hollywood and even games. Like we have good games that have come out. The indie scene is exploding. Like there's aspects of Hollywood that still really are pumping out good content. But like when you just look at the amount of content, just take 24 as an example. I think that show came out in 2002. I am currently on season 5. So that season was like running in 2006. So maybe it came out in 2001, 24. But so they're putting out 24 episodes a year. So like first season was 2001, then 2002, boom, 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 back to back to back to back. Now we're waiting on shows for years at a time for half the amount of episodes. And like we just don't have the attention spans, first of all, and we don't have people telling good enough stories. Like 24 is not perfect. There's a couple of seasons that like they feel too stretched.
Right.
But for the most part, like season 4 I think was by far one of the best seasons of any television because of all the threads they were pulling from like past seasons. Like you see Jack Bauer at like you start seeing him at his literal breaking points, like where he started off as a pretty level-headed guy in season 1. Now he's like developed to this character who is just thrown all that shit out the window. Like he's not by the book anymore. I mean, he always sort of was defiant, but like at this point, he's like, I don't give a shit. He's like shooting people, to literally torture them. He's like, you know what I mean? Like there's such character development from the very first episode to again 4 years later, or so how many episodes is that? Like 80 or 90 episodes?
Yeah.
But like all of them matter. You don't have that anymore, and like. So to me, it's such a lost art, and it's sad to see. And like some will say, well, that's too much. You shouldn't have to do that. Like you get the same message across in less episodes. Yeah. But like, can you? Like, is it worth doing it like that? Because I feel like every episode that I've watched really has like pushed this character forward. Now that I'm in season 5, I'm starting to see the fatigue a bit, and like you can kind of see like what's going to happen before it actually happens, and like what he might do. But like, man, if it's not like so awesome to see like this character develop, and not just him, but like all these other characters. There's so many characters that have been around since season 1 or season 2 that they've gone through this arc of like they were here, now we're here, and it's totally affected who they are and how things play out in the long run. Like you just don't have that sort of planning anymore, and it's sad to see because I just think people don't have the attention spans for it, and to some degree we've lost that generation of screenwriters. They're not around anymore.
I do think that we are starting to see like a comeback in writing slightly.
Yeah.
It all depends on like the medium. I go to be straight up honest with people. I don't really watch too much TV, and I don't watch too many movies because I've basically said I have too many video games. I will die before I finish all my video games that surround me, and I'll be buried in a tomb like a virgin pharaoh, just surrounded by all my plastic junk. But like like there's a lot of great games that I have been very touched by that are kind of like creeping up in terms of like good writing that might actually be in my top 5. Like the Plague's Tale games are
Mm,
two amazing well-written video games that have a great story about a brother and a sister with Hugo and Amicia. And Plague's Tale Requiem I is I can't wait to go back and play it, but that game is just beyond like just the scope of even like AAA. Like this game is considered AA, but like from the game design, the graphics, the art direction, the story. The story is like probably one of the best stories I think I've played in a damn near long time. And
mhm.
I just think people just don't talk about like these good things. Like it's hard to find somebody just like actually willing to like talk about something that's not like mainstream or safe or popular, like Expedition 33, great game, good story. It's kind of like the safe pick. Like everyone's talking about it, so of course everyone's going to talk about it. But we haven't talked about games like Alters. We haven't talked about games, that I'm trying to see like 13 Sentinels or something like that comes out and just has like this weird unique story that just kind of blows people away and takes them off guard anymore, that they just want to go out there and talk to people, because I do feel like some of the people that we should listen to are getting drowned out by it's the crow meme, where it's got like the cute
Right.
little sparrow Robin just going, "Hey everyone," and it's like the big crow going like, "Woke, woke, racist, racist,"
Right.
and it's just like drowning out that
Right.
noise.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that people forget when it comes to games and even movies, like, and I forgot about this. I forgot this for a long time. I mean, you look at my Steam library. I can tell you right now, it is. Let's see, it's something absurd, like 500, 499 games.
Almost.
Like, yeah, what people don't realize is that you don't have to play every game.
Hmm.
You don't have to have a comment on every game.
Exactly.
You don't, you know what I mean? Like there's, and this is not to say, and again, like these are, no one ever, what I've realized is there's a lot of projection out there in the world. Like I'll say something like, you don't need to play every game. You don't need to like say something bad about everything. Someone will get mad at me and be like, what's your fucking problem, bro? I'm like, I don't know. You just kind of prove my point. Like, like if what I said offended you, like maybe there's an issue there. Like
Right.
I don't, like, you don't need to cover everything that comes out.
Hmm.
Um, like there's plenty of people now who are starting to actually play the games and then comment on them, which is really admirable and good. Um, but like the everyday consumer is so obsessed with what their favorite creator is saying about a particular thing that they forget to just enjoy it for themselves.
Yeah.
You know, they're hanging on every word that these people are saying all the
Yeah.
time. Yes, go play this game. No, don't go play it. You know,
Yeah.
oh, super woke, or oh, this is safe. Like, just go try. And if you don't like it, then don't. You know, a lot of these games offer, like, if you have Game Pass, go try it. It's free. You know,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
literally, I mean, basically.
So you
But
can, if I may
but
interject for a second here, because like what you're saying here, like it is like a fucking knife in my heart right here. Like I have seen, like particularly around Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, um,
mm,
I see people like in these comment sections of like these like YouTubers who just go like, "Oh, it's terrible. Square Enix woke this, woke that," and I seen these people like they're playing the game and they're enjoying it, but they have like this weird little struggle session trying to like justify how they like it or how they don't really like it as much after like a YouTuber or something tells them something. I'm like, guys, like I thought we were against like, basically having to justify what we like for like the audience. Like, look, if you like something, just say it. Just say you like it. It's okay. You don't have to
yeah,
put yourself in a pretzel. You don't have to put yourself into like mental gymnastics. And it's like the same thing when it goes to not liking something. Like you don't have to really
yeah,
overtly over justify why you don't like it. It's just like I just didn't like it. It could just be like as simple as that. It's like I don't need to give you a 13 paragraph diatribe of why this game offends me because my grandmother hated it. It's like something like that.
Yeah.
And I think if we're going back to like what we talked about earlier, when we were talking about say for example the whole Donald Trump getting running for election, and you had all these people going like, well, we're Dumbledore's army, we're gonna fight Donald Trump, or it's gonna be Handmaid's Tale this, or the Star Wars resistance and stuff. And people were I just remember this being like a thing. We would say to like the Harry Potter fans, especially when they got into like the fifis about J.K. Rowling, it's like, oh my fucking god, read another book, just watch another movie,
Right.
like that's the
Mhm.
fucking best part about like this time. You now have access to 100 years of media. Like no other generation right now could say like what you have access to at the literal fingertips to go out there and be like, well, Harry Potter sucks now. Let's go find something else to just go enjoy, go support. And I wish people would start just really living into that mentality that they used to tell people back in the day. It's like, oh, well, Star Wars sucks. Well, I guess I'm going to go watch something else then because I only have all of humankind to go back and look on, to find something else to enjoy.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot like the greatest the greatest mistake is that like we've made over the past probably 20 years is believing that like all of our opinions mattered and were valid. Um, and by that I mean like social media has like poisoned our mind, and like anything you put out there, like people should read and should like should see at all times. And it again, this it's something I've said for a long time now, is that people need to spend way more time offline. And I
Mm-hmm.
know that's like a tired phrase, and people say, "Oh, touch grass all the time." Like, I don't think people truly understand like how important it is to unplug and
Right.
not be a part of like discussions all the time. Like,
Right.
you don't need to like, and that's what I mean. You don't need to talk about the Fantastic Four. You don't need to talk about this. You don't need to worry about how you phrase something, and that all that is audience capture,
Right.
right? These creators are captured by their audience. If they step out of line, they're like everything that they have is staked on the opinion that they grew on. So if they deviate from that, everything's gone. And most of these guys, they don't have anything outside of YouTube. If their YouTube channel tanks, that means they have to go back and do, you know, other shit work that they, that's why they do what they do now, right? They don't care because in some ways they've sort of sold their soul, and they're hoping to, keep the money machine rolling.
Right.
But again, everyone today, for better or for worse, believes that what they say just matters and it needs to be heard all the time. And
Yeah.
it is the biggest lie that's been told to everyone.
Yeah, and I kind of like wanted to add more onto that. You're correct, and it's why I've went on more of a mass muting spree. I mute words on Twitter because I need to clean up my timeline. I tell people all the time, and I like I said, I'm not immune to falling into like a movement or into like a saying, but like I
Right.
literally had like a conversation with one of my friends, one of my best friends, and I remember we were driving around a car, and I was going into this like diatribe, and he stopped me and he was like, "Who said that? That's not you speaking. That's someone else. Who said that to you to make you think this?" And
Right.
it's like one of those moments where you just like it. I'm a former drug addict, so like I basically was like this. Like I got sober. It's like you just wake up one day and you're on like the dirty mattress, covered in vomit, and you're like,
Right.
where the fuck am I in life and what am I doing? And it's like one of those moments where you're like, oh fuck, you're right. And I always try to tell people, I'm like, these people have given up on trying to have fun, and they've replaced, their fun with these YouTubers. And I think that's a little bit of a shame but it's also like we see this kind of like beyond this like this whole YouTube spectrum. Let's just talk about like PlayStation fanboys, Marvel fanboys. It's like they've given up
Right.
like the ability to have a personality and replaced it with being a like a shill, a fanboy, a consumer.
Right.
And it's sad too because it's like I really like, Mass Effect. BioWare was like my favorite studio for the longest time. But I didn't give up, well, like BioWare made a mistake. They made a mistake. It wasn't like I replaced my personality by saying like, "Well, I'm BioWare." It's like, no, no, no. I'm Adam, from Illinois.
Right.
Like that's my whole thing. That's my whole shtick. Is like I'm a human being that has multifaceted personalities. I'm not gonna wake up every morning to go online and be like, "You're a hater because so and so woke, racist, whatever, incel fanboy," like stuff like that. Like I talk shit. Don't get me wrong, but it's just like
Yeah.
it's like I'm not going to like be like take a bullet for like a multi-billion-dollar corporation because they aren't they're not worth going to the mat for, as I say. It's fine to
Well,
be a
but
fan.
there's also, yeah, but that's the thing is like, there's also times to um, like you don't necessarily have to go to the map for them, but like you were saying earlier, like actively rooting for these like companies to to fall apart. It's the same bullshit as like the left will pull, right? Because a lot of people that we've mingled with on in our sphere have largely like sort of like right wing personalities or more conservative, we'll say, but they'll make fun of liberals all the time as like, oh, they
Yeah.
just want to burn stuff down, they don't want it, whatever. It's the same thing. It's this other side of the coin. Like everyone wants these companies to burn
Mm-hmm.
and go bankrupt or whatever, but they have no plan for what's going to come of it. They're just like, oh, burn them to the ground.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, 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 no. Like, there's something wrong with these companies, no doubt. But like, let's hold the people who are like actually responsible for the problems responsible. Like,
Right.
we don't need the whole company to go down because like there's innocent people who work at these companies who are losing their jobs because of a few people who are making shit ass decisions.
Right.
Like, it's not every single person in there is walking in with a septum ring and blue hair.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
there's conservatives who work in the industry too, or people who are just like, I don't really believe in this. Like, this is not why I got into this.
Right.
And but we're so focused on being like right. We're focused on being the saviors that we don't. I say we as like the royal we now, not you and I, but like people have been so focused on like trying to be the saviors of this whole thing that they've forgotten that they need a solution to the problem. It's not just about burning something down. It's about
Right.
having a plan in place, to take over. And the simplest one, in my opinion, is, or the most one to guarantee results is kind of what you're seeing with the indie scene. You need good ideas and you need people making games
Mm-hmm.
in smaller studios, right? We're seeing these double A studios and single A studios put out amazing games that we're getting much more value out of for a fraction of the price, and that's a start, that's the start. But
I also wanted to like add into it too. You're also seeing technology catch up to the point where these devs no longer have like the same barrier of entry like they used to. We've seen
right,
such great massive leap forwards with like Unreal, Unity, and all these other things. We're seeing dev teams made up of like five dudes again, and they're going out to like SoundCloud and they're finding a SoundCloud artist that they like and they're making stuff like that. Or you're seeing like
right,
the rise of like the double A publishers, like Focus Home Interactive or
mm-hmm.
what's the one that I just saw here? It's like Nuon or something like that. The guys who published the RoboCop game. That's the one that I want to put out there. Like those
Oh,
people.
yeah,
We are seeing like a return of like the middle market as it used to be called back in the day. It wasn't
yeah,
And on top of that too, we're seeing like these multi-billion-dollar companies also kind of refocusing on making those shorter, smaller games as well. One of the funny things too is being like plugged into like the video game conversation as I am, was that Microsoft used to get like really shit on because they weren't putting out like AAA over the shoulder God of War like games. But at the same time, I've had really great experiences with games that were definitely made on a cheaper budget, like Hellblade 2, South of Midnight, and like State of
Yeah,
Decay. It's like these games that are, they're not going to be like that really serious dad of boy kind of joke where it's like they got like super high processed imagery and stuff like that with amazing gameplay. But like you'll have something like Hellblade that's like one of the most visually stunning games I've ever played, that has touched me in so many ways on a level from Senua's story, but the gameplay is not going to be like Devil May Cry, like I'm doing flip combos and shooting guns,
right.
A-
Yeah,
and like you said, it's like we've seen that market there, like it's been there, it's been talked about for every major like failure like Concord. We've seen great like ideas get nurtured and grow and get support and get well recognized and win awards and get recognition from like the games media, and say what you will about games media, like we've seen some really atomic takes, especially when it comes to like Souls games. But like every time you
mhm.
go and watch like a game award, like out there, it's like, well, usually a FromSoft game is winning that game of the year at the end of the day, with things like Sekiro, with games like Elden Ring, like these
Yep.
games are still like, we mock games journalists all we want, but at the end of the day, they still give the due where it is for actual games that gamers like.
Yeah. No, it's all of this is such a super hard conversation to have, like with certain people, because like I don't know, the audience is so split. I think it's rare to find people now that are willing to walk both sides of the line.
Mm-hmm.
And they said give credit where it's due to like these legacy game journalists. Like
Mm-hmm.
they put out a lot of like shitty articles, but like you're right, they do get it right sometimes, and you have to recognize that. And again, like some of these studios actually put out games that are quite enjoyable. And or like you had mentioned Concord, like I was getting fucking lambasted by people because I enjoyed Concord's like gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, were the character designs any good? Nope, they
No.
sucked. I didn't like
No.
looking at anything in that game, but I had fun with like the hero shooter aspect of it.
Right.
The pick a character, their abilities were cool. Like now fight 5v5 or whatever it was. I was sad that the game closed down in like 4 days or whatever it was. Like that was like, I mean, I was sad because I was enjoying the gameplay and nobody wanted to talk about the fact that the gameplay was actually legitimately fun, that the animations were well done, like all this stuff. Like that part was like totally left out. It was all the superficial shit, which like maybe that could have maybe the conversation could have gone different, and they could have just fixed like some of the character models with like a different palette. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but instead it was like nope, fucking dog pile this shit. I mean, at the end of the day, too, like they didn't market the game. Like that was a huge like ball that they dropped. Like they just didn't market that game.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't you? A game that was supposed to be like your Overwatch, like, and you don't you don't have a campaign for it. Like, what's the matter with you guys? Like, come on now. But we just don't have enough people who are like willing to like take the heat in some ways. I've what I've realized over the past year or so is that we're seeing more people just kind of done with the extreme sides of it,
Yeah.
and they're starting to enjoy this, and like I don't give a fuck what people like are saying, or who's gonna like cast me out because I'm like I want to talk about games or movies in like a more sensible manner.
Right.
Like that makes me hopeful.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and like I came across you and God, who's the other guy? I can't think of his name. Um, I can't think of his name right now,
Shout
but
out
I came
other
across
guy.
you and yeah, other guy. But like seeing other people's tweets, kind of calling people out for just being dumbasses over just trivial shit,
Yeah.
or just being guilty of like, you know, just doing exactly what we hate on the other side. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's a weird time that we are in.
It,
I always say like we're just in a
it,
weird moment in time.
yeah, like you said, it's like, well, you're kind of getting cast off, and people are leaving you behind and stuff like that. And I kind of look at it as just like the old saying, it's like crabs in a bucket. That's like what we have seen with some people.
Mhm.
It's the old saying of like, don't fuck with the money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it all feels like
Yep.
at the end of the day. It just feels like we're starting to like everything that we used to make videos about or talk about or be like, well, this is the mantra we're saying it is slowly turning. And I agree. It's like I'm watching people and I'm like, what when are we going to talk about like the story about this game, the gameplay, the graphics, and like what's going on
Right.
here? Like for that's when I kind of like was like just really dawning on me. It's like I'm listening to people and the only thing I'm hearing from them is like bitch, 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 moan, moan, moan. And it's like, well, if it feels like we've, just to get back to like a more political side of it, is like I don't watch Fox News and I don't watch CNN anymore for these very same reasons.
Right.
I don't watch you anymore. It's just like we're just doing narratives. We're just doing, the message, right? It's like like we're just doing the same
Right.
thing at this point. We're just spinning our tires, and it just feels like one of the big things that we talk about with Concord, like you just said, it's just failed. And the thing about like
Mm.
like anything in life, it doesn't matter, how much money it made or something like that. Like I don't fucking care about the budget and all this stuff all the time. It's like, oh, that's interesting budget to talk about. But I'm like, I don't care about the money. That's not my job. I'm not a numbers guy. Like these people that have
Right.
turned like criticism about something into like, well, we got the numbers here, and I magically came up with this new figure that said it was reshoots, and that adds $3 billion to it, and their marketing budget is also included in that, so they need to make $4 billion for it to be profitable. And I'm like, what the fuck does
Right.
that have to do with like, is this a good movie or if this is a good game? It doesn't matter because there are a lot of
Yeah.
games that I think you and I, or movies that you are like, TV shows you and I like, that like are good, but just nobody cared about it. Like no one watched it, no one like got into it. Or if you look into it heavier, like another game I look at, I put out there, my game of the year of 2023, Hi-Fi Rush. Love that game. Love it to death. Everything about this is a video game I wish I could have made. A rhythm-based, Devil May Cry kind of over the top, like fun game. When I look at like the trophy numbers and the achievement numbers, like it's very clear a lot of people picked it up and put it straight down because they just didn't like it. When you look at the sales figures for Hi-Fi Rush when it went to PlayStation 5, it was like number 200 on the sales charts. It did not do well at all.
Mhm.
All right. And when Microsoft said like, okay, well, we're going to close Tango GameWorks and we're going to kind of move on from them, so on and so forth. And there was this big internet outcry, like, how dare you, and everything else like that. And the only truth I can say to people is like, you bitch, you didn't even fucking play the game and like it and put it out there,
Yeah.
And I can have an honest conversation about like why I like Hi-Fi Rush. I can have an honest conversation on why it failed in if I go by using every metric. But at the end of the day, what matters is me trying to get you to give it a try myself, because even though I don't work for Microsoft, even though I didn't work for Tango GameWorks, I really like this game. It really resonated with me as a person. And what I want to hear is that I recommended it to someone and it resonated with them in a good way,
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to take a lot, I think, to get back to a more balanced approach to like reviewing things because I we're just so used to. I think people, well, they're taking the words of others, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to just experience it themselves, and that's a product of our time, right?
Right.
We're not going back to the good old days. People need to learn to adapt to what's happening today and how they integrate technology into their everyday life.
Right.
So you're not putting the genie back in the bottle, right? You're not putting social media. You're not,
Nope.
social media is not going anywhere. Twitter, YouTube, all that stuff.
Right.
You, the person, the individual, needs to regulate that in your daily routine. A new movie comes out, don't go and watch, the Critical Drinkers review immediately. Go watch it for yourself and then go watch his review and see if it lines up with what you thought. Imagine that. Imagine experiencing something before someone else tells you about it.
Yeah.
Like, and again, it's an exercise that people just need to try. And I try it every day. You need to put your phone face down, like somewhere. Turn the ringer off. You don't need to check it all the time. You certainly don't need Twitter on your home screen. Like you don't even need Twitter on your phone. Like check it on your computer. You don't need to have it around you all day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
Most people are not making any sort of money off of Twitter, so get the fuck off of it.
Right.
Like you know what I mean? Like it's not a place you need to spend most of your time.
Right.
So step away from it, catch up later on, and go experience everything for yourself. Like people would be so much happier. And it's like I said, I've always advocated for like putting myself out of a job on YouTube because like I'd rather people not watch me and go experience their world.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much more beautiful out there,
Yeah.
and largely the reason I haven't been on YouTube is because I've been much happier in not being on there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't engage much on Twitter. I put some stuff out on TikTok every now and then, but like I don't know, like I've just been much happier, sort of, kind of looking at things from afar. Like I really want to go back and start doing my conversations again and just like talking about things randomly, like as I drive to work. But even that, like it's like it almost to me is like it's dipping my toe back into it. It's like just taking another hit. Like, oh, just one more, like I'll quit tomorrow. You know what I mean?
As
like,
an addict, I can relate.
Yeah, yeah, and that's just it. People, right, and people don't see the value in pulling themselves away from these communities and like in these like toxic areas of the internet. Like they don't see the value in disconnecting because that is their life. Every connection they have is virtual, and that is another thing. It's another point of friction in their life that they're not using as a tool to grow. They're using it as an excuse. Like they're using it as an excuse to further not engage because they feel it's a slight to their existence. Oh, well, I'll just go into online, right, to be stunted, and they don't realize that that's actually what's happening. They think it's a net positive.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that it's not. And your real connections in the world, like they're far more fruitful and valuable. Like, and as someone, I'm sure as a former addict, like you understand, like the road that you take, like that you go down when you become chemically dependent on things. And don't get it twisted. People are chemically dependent on the dopamine hits that they get from social media and their notifications.
No,
it is absolutely a thing.
You're totally right about that, and kind of like what you said. I don't look at people that want to come to me, and I'm basically, I don't want them to look at me like a Christ-like figure. Like, I mean, it's like the old joke is like, get down from the cross. We need the wood. All right, I want people to like look at what I'm doing as like a supplement, like an add-on to their thing. I've been joking and saying let's make free will great again. It's like we need to go back to the days of like you watch a trailer and you go like, well, that looks like shit. I'm not gonna watch it, or that looks cool. I'm gonna keep tabs on it. You know, it's like watch it and just come up to your own opinion, make up your own mind, and it'll be fine. And I think a lot of this is like you said, it's like a lot of these people that we talk to, they don't have families, they don't have anything else going on with their lives. Like they don't do or post anything else like that. I'm not saying they have to be online and just let us know everything you're going, but like you listen to them and there's like no humanity behind what they're talking about. Like there's like a camaraderie ship of like gallows humor, but that's it. It's
Mhm.
like they feel like they actually are soldiers in a culture war, you know, like but it's not that
Yeah.
serious. It's like, you know, I like doing streaming. Don't get me wrong. I
Yeah.
try to dabble. I want to still do this because I want to, like I said, I want to have an opinion. I want to have my voice. You know, I like all the
Yeah.
people I've met that I've gone through this. You know, and I enjoy talking to
Mhm.
them, and I like new people learning something about video games or something that I feel like they're not getting or they forgot about. I want to reawaken that joy, but it's not that I'm the person bringing them joy. It's I'm saying, hey, like it's like that one friend that you have that just nudges you and says, "Come on, let's go try it. It can't be that bad, right?" You know,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
it's like I want you to go out there and just try and experience that fun again, or remember that fun you had with something, or be open to trying something to maybe like change your mind. I'm married. I've been, you know, with my wife for 10 years as a couple, 6 years marriage, and I like, you know, I don't actively want to sit down and do streams. I want to still do something with my wife. I still want to go and play video games, and you know, I want to tell people, I want to take pictures of the video game I'm playing. I'm like, hey man, go check this out. You know, like I'm playing
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Origins, and I found out they had like a Final Fantasy 15 crossover event, and I'm like, when the fuck did this happen? You know, and
Yeah.
I'm fucking riding around ancient Egypt on a chocobo. It's like this is the greatest thing ever. You know, I'm having fun, and
Yeah.
you know, it's like it's stuff like that because like there are people that have played Origins that I was like texting them last night. I'm like, bro, did you know you could get a chocobo? And they're like, no, I didn't know that. And it's just like that like excitement is still there if you're willing to just like, you know, tune out the noise and just get back to like living a normal like functioning life. It's, you know, and I think the biggest problem is with a lot of these like YouTubers and like streamers and stuff in general. It's like this is what they have. This is their job. This is their way to make money. And they're not going out
Yeah.
there and they're not going on vacation. They're not going out there socializing. They don't even like talk about like, oh, I went to this coffee shop and had like a coffee, or I saw some weird guy on the corner of the street or something. Like they don't have these interactions. It's like I left my house, went to a movie theater, came home, made a car video ranting about how like me as a 50-year-old man am upset because some like weird Latino girl is Snow White and it ruined my like, you know, closeted gay thoughts of
Right.
finding a man or something. I don't know, okay?
Right.
It's just like stuff
Right.
like that. It's just like, you know, like you're basically saying it's like you're also a married man with kids, you know? Like
Well, it's some of them do their homework, and they, like I said, there's some that do their homework and they put out content because they truly believe, one way or the other.
yeah.
I think one of the issues is like there's
Sorry.
like there are some people who are so like captured by the audience at this point that I know they could have the conversation, but they wouldn't have the conversation like on air. Like I would love to have a conversation like live with even like Gary from Nerdrotic about
Mhm.
the Lord of the Rings trilogy and the books and how they are totally different from the movies. And like if they were made today, everyone would probably be calling them woke, right? Liv Tyler standing in the middle of the river and
Oh yeah.
calling the like dude, like talk about girl boss moment. That's not how it happens in the books at all.
Right.
At all. Like, and so, and that wasn't done. I mean, that was done when? In like 2002,
Yeah.
2001? Like that was,
Early 2000s.
so again, like, and I kind of understand. I mean, the spirit of the Lord of the Rings books are very much intact. but there is a lot of stuff that like was changed.
Mm-hmm.
But like I wouldn't be able to have that necessarily with Gary because like it's just like I know in private him and I could probably talk about it, but on his show like it's just probably not something that would go well
Right.
because you know what I mean? Like it's just already like engrossed in what he does. Like you have to say this certain thing, and
Yeah.
that's fine. Like Gary goes to see all the movies and he watches all the shows and he like does his homework on things and he talks about it. But there's plenty of people out there who don't. They just see something like someone else said. They make the same fucking slop, but they don't. They don't. They don't actually go out and do anything else.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like they're not traveling places. They're not like meeting other people. They're not going and like making connections with people. And it's like, dude, like you need to like buy a stick of deodorant, like travel somewhere, meet another person, like leave your area code. You know, like get out of your area code.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wish people could. I wish people would force themselves to do that in this like YouTube sphere because I truly believe that we're getting to a point where people want to see more nuanced takes on stuff. It's not just about I want to be angry about this certain thing. I think we're getting to a point where people are like, okay, I understand why you don't like this, but like let's drill down more. Like I plan on watching Predator Killer of Killers. Like some of that stuff looks really fucking cool to me. But like I don't want the first thing that I hear about it is that there's a female Viking or something. Like, well, there were female Vikings. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, is it a good show? Was it well written? Like, am I immersed in the world? Like, let's take a step back. It's like we don't just need to jump into that thing, and that's where like the fatigue of it all really like got me. Was like the first thing we're going for is woman or Latina girl or whatever. It's like I need to like there's actually real things that are wrong with it. Like again, Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
From a cinematic point of view, there are things wrong with it. Like the casting, bad. Some dialogue, really bad. Some editing, bad. Like there's good things about it. You know, like the cosmic scenes, like of them escaping Galactus and the Silver Surfer chasing that, fucking rad, dude. The music in that sequence, holy shit. You know, epic, like early MCU shit right there, like like interstellar level of like CGI, cool stuff. And then it, like right back to the bullshit. You're like, I don't even care about these. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, those are the things I want to talk about. I don't care about Sue Storm being the fucking leader of the Fantastic Four now and not Reed Richards. I want to talk about why Pedro Pascal is like, he seems like he's confused to be there.
Right.
Like Reed Richards, the smartest man in the world. Like that's what I want to talk about. Like you get what I'm saying. Like
no, I get what you're saying exactly. My biggest issue, like since we're talking about this one, is like when I listen to comic book fans, and they always go like, "Well, you gotta respect lore, you gotta respect canon." I'm like, which canon? Because like these movies are based off of comic books whose lore and canon has been rebooted, you know, dozens, you know, if not hundreds of times. Going all the way back, like Batman and Superman, you know, they're 100 years old. All right.
Right.
They were fighting fucking Nazis, okay, like actual Nazis. All right, like that's how old they are.
Yep.
You know, and so I think for us is like when I listen to people do like, well, you gotta respect the lore, you gotta respect the canon, and it's like, well, if you like DC and Marvel, it's like they don't even respect it. They change it up. They do all this crazy stuff to it. Like Thanos used to ride around on a fucking helicopter, right? Okay, it's it's like stuff like that where it's like comics have like changed, stories have changed, writers have put their own spin and made great stuff. And the biggest problem I have here is like I think a lot of us, you know, in our generation are kind of ruined because they always go back to like, well, Batman the animated series and that. And like, well, the truth is Batman the animated series did not respect the lore, did not respect the canon. They changed up a lot of things too. They
Right.
made a whole brand new character. Like Harley Quinn was made up just for the Batman the Animated Series. And
Mhm.
I understand, like, you want these characters to kind of stay more truthful to the forms, especially when you have things like Lady Thor, Miss Marvel, stuff like that. Like, we think they're stupid, but at the same time, it's like, there could be good reasons why they're not, as good, or they're different, or there are fans of them, or like they like the stories. I think the only
Yeah.
character I personally just disliked is, I don't like Miss Marvel, because I don't like the whole character like fangirl kind of thing. I think that's stupid,
Yeah.
and
Right.
I just think that's like totally ruined.
Oh, you're racist.
Yeah, I'm
You're
fine.
racist.
Fuck it. I don't care. According to the Nazis, I'm not white. I don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, and I just don't like I don't like the lore behind Lady Thor. Like, I think they could have done that better. It's like they have a cool concept,
Right.
but I just think it was poor execution. And
What I will say in chat is, Disparity said, "Dude, it was so good. Go watch it." I did watch it. The Fantastic Four is just not a good movie. Like,
I think he's
I'm
talking
sorry
about the
you
Predator.
disagree. Oh, Predator.
I think
Okay,
he was
yes,
talking
I
about
do
the-
want to watch Predator. I'm so excited for Alien Earth and then Predator Badlands. I think those two are gonna fuck it. I hope. I'm really hoping that they're good. Like, I mean, I hope that the Alien Earth show is really good, and I'm really hopeful that Badlands is going to be like a sleeper AVP that we've been like begging for.
Right.
So
That does
I'm
look
just
cool. Like that
holding
stuff
out.
looks cool. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff in the pipeline that I'm like tempted to watch and everything too. But it's just like, like the new King of the Hill reboot. Like, I've heard nothing but great things about it.
Right. Mike Judge doesn't really disappoint usually. Like, he's him in South Park, like, Trey Parker, Matt Stone, like,
Yeah.
those guys really seem to, like, they've withstood the test of time. They understand the game that they've been playing for years now, and they haven't really bent the knee. So, like, it's good to see, like, there's some like real ones in Hollywood still. Like Simpsons, I think, really fucking blew it. But
Yeah.
Simpsons has just been bad for a long time.
So you know what, you bring up the Simpsons and stuff like that. As I've gotten older, I've gotten to like get into this like phase of like, I appreciate the writing a lot more. Like, I go back and I watch old Simpson episodes and I'm like, oh, I get the fucking humor now. Or, man, this show used to be a lot more like deep and have like a lot more meaning behind it. And like the writers, like that's what it comes down to. It's all about the writers. And it's kind of like with the Disney Star Wars trilogy. I I didn't like it. It's like, oh, I know, shocking take, I know, but
Yeah.
I didn't hate The Force Awakens. I didn't hate Rogue One. I didn't hate Solo. I was like, was an okay movie. If it didn't have Star Wars attached to it, it would probably be just another forgettable, okay kind of movie. But
Right.
that, even though I fucking despise Bob Iger for what he's done to Disney on many different levels, just purely off of like just other stuff that I won't get into, but it's just like, if they could hire like an actual good writing staff, and that writing staff comes together and they're like, episode 10, let's go. And episode 10 just corrects all the like mistakes, makes really cool, interesting characters, continues the story. Like, yeah, there'll be a lot of fans who are like, well, it's just dead, I'm not going to come back to it. That's fine. But you could save something. There have been like I've heard a lot of people say like The Simpsons has kind of been turning around a little bit, and I think it's because they got new writing staff.
That would be awesome. The other thing I think that Hollywood needs to stop doing is like filling all these universes full of lore. Like, I don't need to I don't need to always know what happened before. I don't need prequels. I don't need sequels all the time. Like, I even argued the other day that I don't like the prequels of Star Wars. I don't like the sequel trilogy, and even the prequels to some extent. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care how we got Darth Vader. That's honestly what makes him so menacing in the in the original trilogy. You have this dark figure. Oh my God, where'd this guy come from?
Yeah.
And like over the course of those three films, you find out, oh, it's actually this guy, our the savior, it's his father, and now the kid like holy like literally like the manifestation of evil, like in Darth Vader, and now we have to see him as a kid, and then as a cranky teenager, and then like sort of this like petulant child, adult man baby,
Right.
and I'm just like what the fuck? Like I don't care. No, it's not a good movie. No, like like stop giving me all of this lore. Just tell a good story, like start to finish, open to close. Like we don't need to keep filling in gaps. It's
Yeah.
just like, and that's what a lot of these Marvel shows did too. Is they were like, oh, we need to tell you more about how we got here, and it's like, no, you just end it with Endgame, and then really where you could have gone from there is like maybe done WandaVision and like Multiverse of Madness,
Yeah.
and then sealed it up and like reset it with the Fantastic Four and Franklin Richards
Yeah.
or Franklin Reed or Richards, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you meant. I know
Like
what you meant. Yeah.
so, like we don't. It was never once the MCU hit their like stride. It was no longer about storytelling. It wasn't about storytelling anymore. It was about the machine. It was about the cash machine, right? And even She-Hulk sort of like basically puts it out there like that. Oh, this is like, look, there's just a computer AI machine like controlling all of this, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh my god, what? Like now we can't even take this shit seriously anymore, and like
Right.
it's canon. Like fuck, like I don't know, man. It's like they like again, the bottom line, the money is more important than the actual art, and I think I don't know, maybe that was always the case, but
I mean, it's that two faces, you know. It's the yin and the yang. You need the money to make the art, and the art makes the money, you know.
right,
And
right,
that's like the sad truth about it. It's like, yeah, you know, it's like the starving artist like kind of thing is like cool and all, but eventually the artist dies because he can't feed himself. So you know, I mean, and I
right, yeah,
here's like a thing that you brought up, which is a good point, which I have such a hard time like with the Star Wars fans about is the a lot of people fucking hated George Lucas that were Star Wars fans. They hated the prequels. They forget this. They always say like
right,
George Lucas only made one good movie. You know, he was George Lucas wasn't shit without Steven Spielberg or his ex-wife, you know, guiding hand. Like these are conversations I
yeah,
remember. And you know, like all of a sudden a Disney trilogy comes out and then it's just like people like have this like weird revisionist history that said like George Lucas could never do no wrong. He saved Star Wars and everything else. It's like no. Guys. I have a memory longer than last week. All right? This
yeah,
the truth is this. It's like there is so much more nuanced conversation and stuff. Like I like the prequels because I grew up as a kid during that time. You know, I got to go see Star Wars in theater with my mom and my dad. Like we all have great memories of this stuff with our parents, and I think some of that plays into why some of these people are loopy is because it's like that Inside Out, like where it's like they go through the emotions and they have all these happy memories, and then sadness touches them and they're kind of tainted. I feel like that's a very, you know, on point metaphor for a lot of these people like that talk about Star Wars that nowadays with Disney, and it's like they look at Disney like they ruined their childhood, you know, or like they,
yeah,
you know, like I use this example a lot, but it's just like I have great memories of my grandmother. She's dead. All right, she's been gone for a very long time. I still love her and I still miss her every day. But you know, Disney didn't dig up my grandmother and like, you know, chop her body up in front of me, you know, because like I have memories of her taking me to Walmart to buy a Star Wars action figure, you know? It's like
mhm,
those two things do not equate. Right? It's like, yeah,
yep,
I can dislike the writer's story and I can still remember the fond memories of Star Wars and then just go like, yeah, you know, like it's done. You can just move on. you're like how old? You're in your like mid 40s. You don't live in your childhood bedroom anymore. You know, you got a mortgage and stuff to do with. It's like there are bigger things in life that you can do than to just constantly live in a state of sorrow and wallow in pity. That you can just go back and just find something new. Like you're like and hey, listen, not everything you're going to like experience is going to be good. You know, like some people are going to like kind of like what we were talking about earlier. Like you love Death Stranding, you like the ideas and everything. I don't like Death Stranding because I didn't really get into the ideas, but I'm also now at the point where it's like it's been enough time. I think I can kind of get over my, insane hate boner, you know, when I mean logical and reasonable and not just being like
Right.
bombastic and a showman, It's like and
Yeah.
I could sit down and be like, okay, let's try this again. And the whole reason for this is like I can use that as a personal example for myself. When I first got Knights of the Old
Yeah.
Republic, I was a kid. I thought I was going to play like Fable. I was really pissed off when it didn't play like Fable, and I was so mad, and I didn't understand why I was winning Game of the Year awards and everything else like this. And then
Mhm.
when I went from middle school to high school, I replayed them, and I'm like, this is awesome. And Knights of the Old Republic is one of my favorite video games of all time. So
Yep.
you never know what kind of person you're going to be in 5 years, 2 years, next year.
Yeah.
And I think the old saying is every 7 years you become a different person because I think someone said like all the cells in your body take 7 years to completely replace themselves. So,
Oh, wow.
so like that's I don't know if that's true. I just heard that somewhere. So it's like every 7 years you go through like a complete change because you are no longer the same person you were 7 years on a metaphysical level.
Right.
So
You know what's wild is like the like you were talking about George Lucas and how everyone forgets, like, everyone hated him and was calling him, saying he couldn't do anything without Spielberg or his wife or his
right,
ex-wife or whatever. Um, you know, on the same by the same token, like Kathleen Kennedy is someone that like people like hate right now. They think, oh, she's like the worst thing that ever happened.
yeah,
Like she's destroying everything. But what's funny is that she is attached to. I mean, she's been the executive producer on some of the greatest movies of all time.
right,
Like, I mean, unanimously, like greatest movies, and like stretching all the way back to. I mean, like the Goonies, Back to the Future, like all the Back to the Future movies, the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, uh, The Land Before Time.
mm-hmm.
Uh, I mean, like again, a Hook, American Tail, Five Goes West, like Tiny Toons, like all of these, Jurassic Park, Schindler's List. Like she has been a part of some of the greatest movies, but also some really shitty movies and TV shows, right? Like, so like when people say like, "Oh, she is just this awful person," she's like, ruining everything. I'm like, yeah, well, she's done quite a lot for some great movies out there. So I don't know if I can fully like, I can't really get behind everything that people are saying. Again,
Yeah,
it's a part of nuance that people forget. Like sometimes they're answering to other people, or again, they have a good rap sheet in general. Like objectively speaking, Kathleen Kennedy has been behind and produced like more bangers than she has like
flops.
uh, failures.
Yeah,
Yeah, flops. So I don't know. Take that as you will.
yeah. Well, it's kind of like it's like a running joke. I don't know if you're a sports fan, but there was this ESPN announcer named Max Kellerman. And Max Kellerman, every year when Tom Brady was in the NFL, would say, like, this is the year Tom Brady's going to suck. And it's like, well, if you say it every year, eventually you're bound to be right because statistics says, like, a 40-year-old quarterback eventually will fall off. It's like,
Right.
it's the same joke with Kathleen Kennedy. She's been fired for 10 years straight now. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I'm still waiting for the bitch to go, guys. Come on. Eventually, one
Right.
year
When
will
you
be
look,
correct.
right. And like, but you really look at someone with her track record, like has she made like has there been like good decisions made recently? Well, I mean, Andor did pretty well. Andor season 2. You know, The Mandalorian, for all intents and purposes, was good. It's rated good. Um, there are good things here, but there's also more bad things than in history. Like, but she's attached to something like Lincoln. Like Hereafter. Like The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Like, they're not bad movies. They're just, but overall, she, like, the stuff that she has been attached to has just been a net positive for Disney, or or whoever like she was working for before.
Whatever studio she was attached with at the time. Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah, speaking of Lincoln, since we're gonna start winding down, because I know I had you for a little bit. Did you ever see Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter?
Oh yeah, it's such a good movie. I love that movie. I like when you blend like history and like horror or sci-fi. I think that's such a cool idea. Like I think I wish we would see more of it, honestly.
Right. And like I said, I'm a history major, so like I get a little extra like up when it gets into like whole thing like God of War, when they blend the Greek mythology and they make their own spin on it. Like even these Assassin's Creed games where you kind of go back in time and you can walk through downtown Venice or experience like Memphis, Egypt, and you're in like, Athens, Greece and stuff like that. Like I do love like when people can also find a way to take, established lore and stories and stuff like that and work around in it and create their own, not canon accurate version of events too. It's just it
yeah. I mean, I don't know, as a storyteller, like I have a, like, one of my historical fiction like stories is it's post Civil War, right? And it sort of dabbles in like Illuminati, like Freemasonry, and like there's going to be a sort of like sci-fi angle to it, but like in a time where it's so foreign, like none of that stuff is like in the forefront, but the main character is like this sort of like skilled, highly trained, like, for lack of a better term, like black ops sort of like guy. Like that's what he did stuff in the Civil War that was like pretty gnarly, and like I tied some of his old missions into actual events of the Civil War,
right?
And I thought like this was fun because we like like it doesn't like, oh sure, like Stonewall Jackson like shot by his own men. He's like, oh, was he? Like maybe these guys were like the people that actually did it, and it was like a setup for something larger. You know what I mean? Like it's a fun.
You know what that reminds me of, that story? Did you ever watch? I think it was called The Revolution on AMC. I think it was like
no,
that.
I did not.
So the concept of this one was basically George Washington's spy network during the Revolutionary War.
Okay.
And it's actually a really good show. And it plays through all like the key parts of it. Like it focuses around like Benedict Arnold and like how like he got caught. So like I highly recommend that show. It's a little old. I think it's 4 or 5 seasons, and it kind of trails off at the end. But the first 3 seasons, very solid. But
okay.
But like that's that reminds me of.
Yeah, no, I've always just been fascinated by history, and again, like even times like that where like records can be sparse or like easily lost.
Oh yeah.
So you can play with details like that, and not have to like answer too much for that. Oh, well, what about all this? Well, like they're riding around on horseback all the time, or like a fire burned down the town's, the town square or whatever,
right.
the town hall, records are gone. Easily tie up that loose end. Yeah, I kind of wish, and it just goes back to like, I feel like I'm trying to be part of the solution, not the problem of just bitching constantly about something that quite honestly isn't going to change, Like,
yeah.
going on YouTube constantly and making a video about Assassin's Creed or whatever, being woke or dumb, is like, you're not doing anything. Like,
It's like,
either write a better story or make a better game,
mhm.
or, again, find some deeper meaning in your life than this shit. Because, like, at the end of the day, these companies really don't care.
Oh yeah,
They
without a
don't.
doubt. But like you're saying, it's like there are other things to fill your time void with. It's like I tell people all the time, it's like, why are you listening to this garbage when you can go out there and learn about like something more interesting, more something like fun. Like there's this one series I've been listening to, and it's called it's about war monsters. So what it is a lot of like, say for example, our understanding of like mythology, say for example, like let's say the Wendigo, for example, are actually
Oh,
monsters that are born from wartime events, from people who are out on the front lines and they're suffering from super hardcore PTSD and shell shock and all this other stuff. So they are actually losing their minds, and these monsters are all just creations of like our psyche, just straight up from war or
oh,
stuff like that. And like I've been, and like these are like really captivating theories. There's also like the fun ones that like Constantine actually only like is actually the face of Jesus because of some on his how can I say this, on his triumph arch in Rome. There's like no mention about Christianity or any of the myths that we know about Constantine, and then they kind of lay out the
uh,
argument that like, well, he was a part of this subset cult of sun god worshippers, and the god kind of looks like a proto version of Jesus, and that's why we got the form of Jesus and stuff like this today. Like it's fascinating, it's like it's stuff out
yeah,
there that's rooted in like historical evidence. It's like, here's the proposed thing, here's our evidence behind it, but kind of like what you, like you said, you want to come up with a better solution and do all this other stuff. Well, now you got all this background stuff that you could work with and do so much more with that too. So uh, I definitely say out there, everyone, there's a lot of, if you have an idea and you want to just go for it, just go for it. That's what I have to say.
yeah. I can't for the life of me, like, it just doesn't work for me anymore. Like, I spent a lot of time being very angry over things, and it like really affected my health, like physically. And I don't like. I guess some people are just built to be like a constant like raging piece of shit, and like they can tolerate that. Like, and then, or just like they can consume political articles and culture war stuff all the time and not get fatigued or like get sick from it. Like, for me though, like I have too much other stuff happening. I have screaming kids. I have a wife who has needs. I have work. I have, you know what I mean? Like, I have a house to pay for. Like it's just, for lack of a better saying, like, I have real world shit to worry about, and this is just not important. And people even say, "Well, this is it. Like, this is the slow creep." I'm like, bro, the real, and for anyone listening, you want to fix the culture war, be present in your own life. Like, there's not a YouTuber out there that is really, really fixing the culture war. Like, people do this at home. They do it in their communities. They do it by, showing up to a school board meeting because the school is filling their libraries full of like really, really bad books, and they're giving their kids like propaganda or whatever. You know, you,
Right.
you do it by talking to your kids and being present with your kids, not by sitting on a live stream and talking to a bunch of random people online. Like, you want to win the culture war, be present with your wife. Take her out to dinner, and then show your kids how to love a woman or a man, whatever your choice, whatever you want to do with your life. Show your kids how to love your partner. That will fix the culture war. And then also realize that at the end of the day, this isn't the band-aid or whatever that people are trying to like put out there is not going to capture everyone. So you see something bad on the internet, it could just be a one-off case that you've seen 300 times, right? Like, how many times do news stories get out there where it's like the same event from different vantage points, but then people think it's like 40 different things happening.
Right.
Like it, like it's tiring, and people's brains are melting over things that doesn't concern them. They truly can't control, and now they feel like, oh well, we got to be dependent on the government. No, you are in control of your life. Go out there and take control of it. Stop letting some bunch of fucking idiots in Washington dictate what you can and can't do, and stop trying to take people's ability to speak and communicate away from them. Like,
Yep.
it's just not good.
It's the
Bottom
scene
line.
from it's the scene from The Godfather. You know, you gotta slap him and go, "You can act like a man. What's the matter with you?" You know?
Yeah. 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 Totally. I mean, life is oftentimes just tough love, and people don't realize, like I was saying earlier about like friction. Like, people need friction in their life, but we've come to the point where we've done everything we can to remove that friction just to have comfortable lives. And while I want, everyone wants their life to be comfortable, like,
Right.
but you still need some sort of friction in your life that, like, which means that you're going to have to give up something that you want. Every choice that you make leaves, its bodies in its wake, however small. That's just how life goes. But people want this like idealized version of life, and when they don't get it, they kick and scream, they dye their hair blue, put on a septum ring, and blame everyone else for their problems except for themselves. And that's like truly annoying, when we have, especially here in the US, we have so many opportunities to make our life better. And now, is it perfect? Are our systems perfect? No way. But again, I don't think that these people are like, they don't understand, like, this isn't the win you think it is.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get out and like be present with people, and eventually they'll get there. But I don't know. For now, I've realized that my position in all of this is largely away from it, and like, I love coming on shows like this because it does give me a chance to talk more about it, and I'll start uploading my shorts onto here because I do a lot of like little TikToks and stuff. But people need to realize, like, it's an uphill battle, and that's the point, because that's how you grow. No one ever got jacked by sitting their ass on the couch. They go to the gym and they tear apart their muscles to grow.
Exactly.
Simple as that.
And growing is painful. Everyone remembers growing pains growing up, right?
Yeah. I mean, so that's it. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, I really do appreciate you for coming on, Mr. Shagsworth. This was incredibly fun interview, and I had a lot of fun talking to you. It's amazing how quickly 2 hours can come and go. But I would love to have you back on for any other topic to talk about, maybe Death Stranding. Maybe after I beat it, we'll come on and we'll actually have a full-on, in-depth conversation about that. And
I'm down.
If you would like to give yourself a plug, tell them where to find you, and so on and so forth, and kind of give yourself a bow.
Yeah. Feel free to follow my YouTube channel. I'm on YouTube at the Shagsworth, on TikTok as well at the Shagsworth. I post little shorts on there, Instagram as well. But yeah, I've taken a kind of a break from my live streams, but kind of like what we talked about tonight. I talk about a whole myriad of things, but trying to get people to, be present in their life and better themselves, and is really kind of where I'm at with all this. So, but thank you for having me on. It has truly been a pleasure. I look forward to being able to join again and talk about Death Stranding or movies or TV, whatever you got coming up. So,
yeah, no. Thank you very much. The pleasure is all mine. Like I said at the beginning, a lot of people have pitched the idea to you. I like you as a person. I feel like you call balls and strikes, and that's all that I can ask for somebody. It's just to be real and be honest. Even if I don't 100% agree all the time, it's about respect. And if I respect you, then I want to hear more from you, even if I don't necessarily agree with that point. But thank you for coming on. I really appreciate that. For everyone else, if you like what you heard and you want to hear more content like this, please leave a like and a comment, and maybe a subscription if you feel like it's worth it. Small sacrifices to the algorithm god. They help this channel grow, and helps me reach out to more people to have them on to talk about many other subjects. Um, with that being said, tomorrow we will be back at 8 o'clock Central Time, and we will be joined by our friend Mr. Jason Tungate of Top 5 at Tons of Fun Gaming. And we're going to be watching another episode of GeForce Icons, and this one will be covering fighting games, the history of fighting games. So stop on by. I think this thing will be covering games like Street Fighter, Virtual Fighter, Mortal Kombat, etc., etc. So that's what we're going to be doing. Evo was last week, so if you still are in the mood to learn more about fighting game history, please check that out. No shows on Friday or Saturday or Sunday. We have changed up our time schedule. Let me rephrase that. We might do a stream on Friday. It will be a video game stream. Don't know the game yet. As everyone knows, I've been upgrading my content and doing more things. So we got the camera here. We got a new camera installed. And on top of that, too, we got a new desk that just came in today. We're going to build, redo the whole setup area. And we're going to start posting more scripted content. With that being said, we got a video that might go live tonight, but I'll give everyone a sneak peek about it. I'm a video game collector, so I'm going to show off my Nintendo Steelbook collection from all my Nintendo games that have Steelbooks, and that will be the first pre-recorded show that we'll have live. Besides that, I am done filibustering. Shags, it was awesome and amazing once again. The pleasure was all mine. Hope to have you on, and I hope you have a very wonderful rest of your day. Good health to you and your family, so on and so forth. And for everyone, happy Wednesday. Hope you all have a great week. Stay cool if you're in a hot area. Here in the Midwest, it's supposed to be up in the 90s. So remember, stay hydrated, stay healthy, stay active, and stay sexy. Everyone,